What is up, you guys? Back at it with another video, and today's video is on my favorite motorcycle currently, the Honda Trail 125. On today's video, I am gonna sadly talk about some things that I don't love about this motorcycle. Before I start saying anything negative about a motorcycle, I have to deliver the same caveats I've delivered several times in other videos. It's kind of painful to hear, but I have to say this because if I don't, then all of my comments are flooded with things that are going to be covered by me just saying these couple things. It can save you from being a keyboard warrior and coming for my neck. So I'm going to say these things. When I say something is wrong or bad about a motorcycle, I mean for me, for my intended use, based on my experience, my riding habits, my training, that sort of deal. When I say something is wrong or something is bad, it is completely based on my preferences and what I intend to do with a motorcycle. It's not like me saying this engine is bad, it's gonna blow up, it's unreliable, and it's leaking oil, and there's pee in it. I'm just saying that, like, if I say an engine is bad, I mean bad for me. And just gotta get that off the table, or get that onto the table, I guess. I don't know which way that works, but I just have to say that up front. If I say something is wrong or bad, I mean for me. And I also have to say, like, kind of rolling with that, anything that I say I need this to change because of this, you may not need that to change, but for my preferences, I need that to change. I need to do this thing, because oftentimes I get this situation where people are like, that's not what the bike is intended for. And like, I understand that every motorcycle has its intended use, but mine might vary a little bit based on how I treat my motorcycles, what I do with my motorcycles. So my intended use may not line up perfectly with the manufacturer's intended use. So in those situations, I am going to say, I hate this, or I want to change this, or I need this to do this. Like, I might say, I need this bike to go down the highway. I'm not gonna get on the highway with this motorcycle. It's very slow. But if I say that, it's because suddenly I have found myself in a position where I need to be on the highway, and at the time, this is the motorcycle I own. You being like, it's not a touring bike, go get a touring bike. It's like not realistic for some people. Some people may buy a motorcycle because they like it, they like the look, they like the style, they whatever, the price point is nice, and then they're confronted with the fact that, like, hey, all of my friends are going to take a road trip. Suddenly, I need to make this road trip ready, or suddenly I got to go 2 exits down the highway. Are there modifications I can do to make this do that, you know? So a lot of times I'm speaking directly to people that might be in those situations because I may have found myself in that situation. So just consider that before you type your response to complain, that when I say something is wrong or needs to change, it is based on my needs and potentially somebody else's needs who may be in the same kind of situation. So, end rant, let's get into the top 5, actually the only 5 things I do not like about the Honda Trail 125. But first, we need an intro, my friends. Let's get it. Whatever, number 1, that's 2. 1 that I don't like about the Honda Trail 125 is the shifter. I'm going to cut to a picture of our Honda Super Cub right here, that shifter, because that's what the factory shifter looks like on the Trail 125. But the shitty thing about that shifter is, or that like heel toe kind of shifter is, when you're commuting, it's great. It's great to not have to worry about moving and hooking your foot. It's great to not have to worry about scratching your boot up or anything like that. It's great just to be like, doo, 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 riding my gears. But when you're standing up off-road, let me show you here. When you're standing up off-road, your heel ends up landing right on the shifter there. So you're standing, you're like, woo, having a good time, and then you accidentally click up in gear, and with the motor this small, boom, there goes your power if you get out of the right gear. If you're in first or second, cruising at a good speed, and you click up into third, and you need to be in first and second for that torque, suddenly, this little itty-bitty motor has no guts. So those accidental shifts are a bad time. So, as you just saw right here, I actually cut my shifter. A lot of people do this. I end up using like an angle grinder just to cut it clean off, and then I just use the Dremel to clean it up and make it smooth. That way it's not cutting me or trying to tear my pants or rip up my boots or anything. I smoothed it out a little bit, and then I bent it a tiny little bit with a vise, but that is cut and out of the way. Now my heel can stand on my peg without worrying about hitting that. I don't have to worry about like standing like this to try to avoid hitting that shifter and then accidentally hitting this shifter. I can be on the peg as the off-road gods intended. So that doesn't really affect you. Like I was saying, some of these things are really personal. That doesn't affect you if you're just going to ride around town. But if you actually want to get out in the woods, you actually want to hit some trails, that shifter has to change. A lot of people just remove it and put on a standard motorcycle shifter because you can't just operate it like normal. But I am, how do you say, a cheap bastard. So I just cut mine, modified it, made it work for the free ski. So that's reason number one. Thing number one that I don't like about the Honda Trail 125. Okay. Number two. The number two thing I dislike about this motorcycle, and I will admit that it is kind of nitpicky. It was honestly hard to come up with 5 things, but this is one that everybody mentions in the comments, that everybody is kind of worried about. So I have to address it because it is kind of a big deal, and that is the fact that the engine is not a big deal. It is a very small displacement motorcycle, and that comes with 2 things. It comes with really great fuel economy, but at the cost of not having very much power. Sometimes on these Atlanta streets, there's some really steep hills, and I'll find myself in top gear wide open and slowing down. So I have to click down a gear and get on up it. And in the motorcycle's defense, I am a 200-pound man, so maybe not the target audience, but it is slow. It is definitely slow. And unlike the 2022 Grom that I had, that looked like this, so cool, this does not have that extra gear. So you're kind of like really kind of chasing down the power. I personally don't mind. I tend to just get over in the right lane, let people pass me if I need to. If there's a bunch of stuff building up, I'll try to get over and let it go. It's enough power for me. But I also have other motorcycles. I do plan to take big trips on this motorcycle, but I do have other highway munching bikes, you know. I have a Harley Dyna. I have a car. I don't have to ride this motorcycle everywhere, so I kind of pick and choose when I do ride it. It is my favorite motorcycle to ride, but if I'm going really far or if I need to get there kind of fast, this guy is not coming out of the garage. I don't even have a garage. I have a really pretty shed. But yeah. This thing is slow. There's no ways around it. I think it's fast enough. I can honestly, wholeheartedly say that even though I have a Harley and a Vespa and a Volkswagen and like all these other vehicles at all times, I'm actually looking at another car now. I'm going to have 2 cars again. Even though I have all those vehicles, this would be the last one I would sell. If I had to go down to one vehicle, it would be this. So hopefully that kind of drives the point home that the power really is enough. You're not winning any races. You're not setting any lap times. You're not pulling out ahead of anybody really quickly, but it really is enough. If you just leave a little early, plan your route well, and you're not in a hurry, you're going to be fine, man. Third thing about this bike. The third thing that comes to mind is kind of a double-edged sword. And that's that there are no passenger accommodations. There are some aftermarket stuff that you can get. There is a seat pad for there, and I've seen a couple, usually companies out of Japan, some out of Thailand, that make peg kits, so you can run a passenger peg. The rack pretty clearly is printed that it does not hold a passenger, like it's not enough weight, there's not enough weight rating for it, but there are dozens upon dozens of pictures of people doing just that on this motorcycle, so it is possible, but sometimes possible isn't the best idea, especially combined with the fact that there's not very much power. So like you're going to be even slower. I really loved the passenger seat on the Honda Grom though, the 2022 Honda Grom. I used it a bunch. We would go on little date nights with it. It was fun. Like it had enough power to get us down the street. We would do 35, 40 miles an hour, perfectly fine. That bike did have a manual transmission, so I could work the gears a little bit more to our favor, ring them out a little bit. But that passenger seat really was nice. It was nice to hop on a bike that gets 100 miles to the gallon and cruise, go on a little date, even just bop around town a little bit. I wish this had proper passenger accommodations. Why I say it's a double-edged sword, though, is because one of the cool things about this bike is that it has this huge rack. Like right now, I don't have a ton in it, but straight up I have an extra tube for this bike, a bottle of water, a bunch of random stuff there, and my camera just chilling in here, as well as some stickers. You can get one of those for me if you hit me up on Instagram in the DMs. I can get you one mailed to you. But the storage is really great. I love that rack. I love that I can hold a bunch of stuff in bags. I can pile luggage up on it, but that does come at the cost of a passenger seat, which to me, I think I'd rather it be just a dedicated passenger seat than a rack. I know this stays more true to the original design, but the original design had passenger pegs built into it so that when you added that seat pad, I am back. While I was talking, a crow, like, dude, literally this bird swooped down so low to me that I was like fighting for my life at it. Like, I was just throwing like air punches at absolutely nothing. Like, the bird was gone, but I was like, whoa, that's too close. So much so that I stopped talking, ruined that whole take. But this channel is legitimately pure. We're not going to edit that out. We're going to just have an abrupt cut there. And then I'm going to tell you that I tried to punch a bird that I definitely couldn't reach because it probably wasn't that close. It was probably just a shadow spooking me. But back to the seat. I wish this bike was more like the original design. I wish it had all the means to carry a passenger, just minus the pad. So you could add the pad if you want. Otherwise, you just have the peg sitting there. And if you really want to strap things to the passenger seat, you still can. That's the thing. All racks are not seats, but all seats can be racks if you just strap something to them. So I wish they would have done a little bit better job designing that. Maybe extend the swing arm a little bit to where you can put more weight on it for some passenger pegs of some sort, or maybe slim out this rack so that there's a seat pad that fits it more nicely. They have their little grab rail here. That's what that is for. That is for a passenger to grab onto. Just give us some pegs. Give us a factory pad option, because I can still strap this bag to a seat. So that's the reason number 3. I wish there was more passenger accommodations. And again, like I said, these are completely my opinions for my preferences. I like going on a mini moto date. I like riding around on a slow bike with the passengers being all cuddled up nice and close. It's cool putting a girl on like my cool club style Dyna, throw her on the back. She's all pretty on there, but she's like 18 feet away from me, which is the whole point. You put a person on your motorcycle, you want them close. There's no point in putting the cutest girl I know on the back of a Dyna for her to be 14 to 18 feet away from me because the bike is so big. We're not even touching. She has her own little like armrest and whatnot. I don't actually have armrests. I'm just exaggerating now, but you get the idea. Sometimes cuddling up, being silly on a little bike is super fun, and I wish this bike allowed me to do that a little better. Y'all remember that time a bird tried to kill me, man? He better be careful, man. I'm a dangerous man. Dangerous man out here, man. I'm not dangerous at all. I'm a child on a little kid's bike. But I am a child on a little kid's bike that has a number 4. I can count to 4 reasons. The fourth item on my list for today of things wrong with the Honda Trail 125 has got to be, again, something that appeals only to me. And that is the fact that there are tubes in these tires. I have notoriously complained about tubed tires on this channel. Every single time I do, people get in the comments and they say, tubes are fine, they're really easy to change, yada, 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 yada. I get it. You're cool with tubes. That's fine, man. That's fine. It's okay to be open about your tubuality. I, though, am a tube hater. I dislike tubes. They are difficult. I understand that spoked wheels are better off-road. There's no discounting that. I understand that spoked wheels and a tube is the cheapest way to produce a motorcycle. I understand that. That is great for when you want to sell a motorcycle for this cheap with the intent of going off-road. That is the right combination. That is the right package. But it is now 2022 and tubeless spoked wheels are bountiful, and I understand that you can't offer those from the factory sometimes. Sometimes the price point isn't there, but what you can do is throw on a factory upgrade or some trim levels, and I wish that's something that Honda would do. If they would do a factory tubeless wheel, I would buy it. It's to the point where I'm pretty sure I'm going to downgrade my off-road prowess by adding the wheels from the Super Cub to this bike so that when I'm riding around, I don't have to worry about changing a tube. I will say it's much easier on this bike because it's so light. I can just push it over. The tires are fairly soft. Taking either wheel off is pretty easy compared to doing something like that on my big Harley. If I get a flat on my Harley, I'm just going to cry and then call a tow truck. I'm not going to attempt to fix that with like no spoons on the side of the road. But this, you could trail side, change your tube really quickly, but you're gonna have to carry that stuff around. You have to carry a tube around. You have to carry some tire irons around. It does add some girth to your tool set. There's no arguing that. You can patch them, you can replace them, but you are gonna have to carry a lot more tools than you would if your bike was just tubeless. So I would prefer it to be tubeless, and if not tubeless from the factory, I would prefer for there to be a tubeless upgrade. Just give me an upgrade from the factory that I know works. That way I don't have to go through weird like Taiwanese websites to figure out the part. Just give me that. And before you say it, Tyler from Iowa or wherever the hell you are, it's always some guy named Tyler that has this brilliant idea that I haven't thought of. But I know I can seal the rims. I know I can seal the rims. Lots of people have sealed the rims successfully, but I have also seen a lot of people with successfully sealed rims stuck on the side of the road because that thing pops. I've also seen people with successfully sealed rims break a spoke that they can no longer access because they sealed the inside of the wheel up, and then they're having to undo all that epoxy, that tape, whatever route they took to seal their wheels. That is not the thing I want to do. I don't want to like DIY a solution to this. I want to buy a tried and true factory tested solution to this problem. I want a mag wheel that I can just boop, tire snake, flat is fixed, you know? And it would be cool if that wheel was spoked. That way you still have the off-road prowess. But for me, I've gone off-road a lot on mag wheels. Everybody would tell you you can't off-road on mag wheels. But my 2009 Kawasaki Versys that had about 20,000 off-road miles on it will disagree and tell you that mag wheels can go off-road. So that's what I want. I'm either going to switch to mag wheels or I'm going to switch to a tubeless spoke wheel if I can find one from a reliable vendor. If you have a reliable vendor for that, or even a plug on how to get some of the mag wheels a little cheaper than buying them from Honda, maybe you got a set lying around for your boy, drop it in the comments. I would happily buy those from you if they're in good shape and they're what I need. But while you're over there dropping that in the comments, right above the comment section, there is a big old button that says subscribe. You should click that too, because I'm kind of funny and my bike is cute and I need the subscribers so I can, you know, buy this thing gas. You know, gas getting kind of expensive these days, y'all. You know, this inflation thing everybody's talking about, man, it's bad out there. Woo! Big one. Here is the big fifth thing I hate about the Trail 125. This one is going to ruffle some feathers. The thing I really hate about the Trail 125 is that you guys are on YouTube right now watching a video about it when you should be outside riding one, because this is the best motorcycle of all time. There's not 5 things wrong with it. Everything about this motorcycle is perfect except the fact that your ass is on a couch and not outside riding one. Go outside. Go outside. If you have one, go ride it. If you don't, go to the Honda dealership. Give them your $5,000 or whatever the hell they want for this motorcycle that's slow as hell, because it's great. You're never going to have so much fun. Seriously, I said I was going to sell my car. I would sell my Triumphs. I would sell my Harley. I would sell everything but this. You need this motorcycle. Literally, I'm sitting there at my little office space where I like think up my movie ideas. It's really just my dining room. It's really cute though. Here's a picture. Look at that. Cute. So cute. Oh my God, Cosmo, you have so many houseplants. Yes, I know. It's beautiful. The air quality is high, my guys. But when I'm sitting there trying to think of 5 things I hate about this motorcycle, I had to fight to get 4. There's not 5. This thing is perfect. Seriously, it's so good. You just literally go get it. Go get it. Hit subscribe, hit thumbs up, hit the little bell icon. I think it's over here somewhere on your screen. After you do that, turn your computer off, close your laptop, turn the TV off, do whatever it is that ends this video, and go ride this motorcycle, because this, come on, look how cute it is. Very cute, very small. Dang, look at it, all angles. Woo! All right? Seriously though.